Hello and welcome to Forgotten Not Gone. I am a Jaded Gamer and today I will be asking, do you remember Dungeon Lords? Originally released in 2005 to very negative reception, this game promised real third-person action combat set in an original role-playing world. It was released in a bug-ridden state, many quests, NPCs, even quest items just straight up missing from the game. It received 4 major patches before any more assistance was discontinued. It brought the game up to a playable state, and the current state it is in now, in 2018. And this is our jumping off point. Let's get into it. After what seems like a pretty promising introduction, at least for the time, we're sent to the menu and treated to perhaps the best menu theme I've ever heard. I still think it kick-ass even today. Just as a side note, I quite like the menu in this game. Sound effects have got a real meaty quality to them, just brings it alive. Anyways, on with the character creation. We're given the option of several races to choose from: human, elf, dwarf, lizard, were-beast. You know, all the standard fantasy stuff you'd expect. Or at least all the ones you should expect in a game. Most barely get past dwarf now. Going off my admittedly shoddy memory, on the original release you were only able to play as a human, elf or dwarf, I believe. This was later patched so you were able to pick from the larger variety of races mentioned. But because I'm a massive racist, I always just play humans. It's what I prefer. The game allows several different skin choices, hair colour, pretty standard stuff. It also allows you to pick your preferred hand, which is a nice touch, even though it has absolutely no effect on the gameplay. For all that chosen, we move on to skills. Now, I always play a fighter because I'm boring. I just get no enjoyment out of waving my finger in the back row. The skills in this game cost adventure points. Adventure points are just your basic experience from completing quests and killing opponents. You're given X amount at the start of each new character, and they're best put into weapon and armor initially, worrying about other skills such as lockpicking and athletics later on. You're also given a small bonus known as heraldries. Initially you start with 1, but there's several ways to gain additional during the game. They don't really do much, but they work into the role-playing side of your class more than anything. Having chosen our fate, we're given a cinematic that introduces the world, a story, all the major players, and drags on about twice as long as it should. But no matter, on with the game.
His armies defeated, Lord Davonmore was desperate to save his kingdom from the onslaught of Lord Barrowgrim's marauders. It began as a war over who would rule the Circle of Mages. Davonmore's powerful ally, Galdrin of the Meadows, or the archwizard Vogar, sage of Barogrim's kingdom. Vogar was after the relics of power, ancient artifacts safeguarded by Galdrin. For according to legend, whoever unlocked their secret would acquire the magic to rule heaven and hell. In a nefarious coup, Volgar convinced a few within the Circle of Mages to betray Galdrin, and the unsuspecting wizard was lured into a trap. With Galdrin vanquished, Lord Davonmore's troops were soon overrun, and he had no choice but to concede victory. But Barogrim's taste for blood was not easily quenched, and he demanded a special prize that would proclaim his dominion to all. The hand of Davonmore's daughter, Elowen, in marriage. For this alone would Barogrim call off his legions of terror. Unbeknownst to either lord, Elowen had already sworn her love to Valdane, captain of Davonmore's royal guard. Upon hearing his daughter's refusal to marry Barogrim and the confession of her true love for Valdane, Lord Davonmore flew into a rage. He ordered his guards to arrest Valdane and carry him off to a dungeon far away. Elowen's wrath fell full upon her father, and she swore that if Valdane could not have her, no one would. She fled from the room in tears, and the next morning she was gone. Now Davonmore lies deep in a trap of his own making, for upon learning of Elowen's disappearance, Barogrim has accused Lord Davonmore of treachery in a ruse to conceal his daughter, and has once again ordered his army of death to the kingdom's door. Night Warriors, Shadow Fiends, and other monstrous terrors now march across the lands, bringing death and destruction to all they encounter. Only by finding his daughter and convincing her to honor his pledge, can Davonmore hope to save his kingdom from the nightmare of Barogrim's army of abominations. For should Vogar acquire the relics of power, they will truly become unstoppable. But all is not yet lost. It has been foretold that a young hero will arise to challenge the forthcoming evil. The relics of power lie concealed in the ancient dungeons and castle ruins of kingdoms past within the Forbidden Lands, waiting for the champion who can win them from their guardians. Deep within the wilderness, there are those among the elves, dwarves, and demigods who might be persuaded to stand and fight. Within the Circle of Mages, there remain a few who despise Volgar, those who might come to the aid of one brave and strong enough to challenge him. And somewhere out there is the lost daughter of a crumbling lord, now stalked by unseen treachery. If only she can be found. If only she can survive long enough. Thus begins Dungeon Lords, the Kingdom Cracked. A tale of love, hate, betrayal, revenge, honor, and evil.
Welcome to the world of Dungeon Lords, and the view for the rest of the game. As you can see, some of the animations on the character are pretty poor. There's basically no turning animation, they just shuffle their feet as they spin when you move the camera. A lot of the sword swings look very similar, be it forward attacks or side swipes. But despite all that, it works, and it works consistently, which is more than I can say for some games released even today. We are given a letter from a messenger and told to head to Fargrove. However, we are turned away at the gate, and we are approached by a goblin named Scorch, who offers to get us into the city. Having no other means to do so, we follow him. Alas, it is an ambush, and we're forced to fight for our lives. Surviving the ambush, we are granted access to the sewers. But the goblins aren't done yet. Firing upon me from above, I'm forced to find a way to get to them and defeat them, or at least retreat from them for now. Unimpressed by my consistent survival, the goblins bring out the big guns in the form of a ballista. Fortunately, it's no match for my tiny little shield, and I manage to take it down. Moments after my victory, though, they are back hounding me, nipping at my heels endlessly. Having finally escaped the sewers, I find myself in an old, dilapidated theatre house, as did the goblins. They must have really loved to scorch the goblin, to go to this much effort to defeat me. Kinda feel sorry for the little buggers. Final climactic goblin battle comes at the entrance, or exit, to the theatre, depending how you see it. The goblins have officially had enough of me. They want me dead. They brought their own cave troll with them. It's in large, prolonged battles like this that the combat shines in this game. Weaving in and out of projectiles, dodging incoming attacks, blocking with your shield. Despite the age and general lack of polish with the game, it all just comes together. It feels really great to do. You may have noticed during that battle, I occasionally brought up a menu and used a scroll or a spell to aid me, but did you notice that the whole game paused when that happened? The enemies were still animated, projectiles still moved if they had already been released towards me. So, what's up with that, you might be asking? Well, let's take a look at this example here where I'm opening a chest. The game has paused, but the enemies still animate. And here, I'm intentionally pausing as the goblins fire arrows at me, even though they're incapable of doing anything but animating while the menu's up. The projectiles are still capable of causing damage if they're already moving towards me. And this final example, where I've been poisoned, is indicated by the green drop on my health bar. Despite the game being paused in all respects, I'm still taking damage from the poison, and if I were to leave it here for a few minutes, it would kill me eventually. The same thing would happen if there was a poison cloud or cloud kill spell or whatever coming after me. Even pausing the game won't save you from it. So as best I can tell, the developers just made a mistake and left some things outside of the pause function. Although this has mostly bad side effects to it, there are some benefits. You can exploit your way out of being frozen, for example, or immolated, anything like that.
I am Celestine, apostle of the Celestial Order.
Back on track, once we leave the theatre and enter Fargrove, we approach the leader of the Celestial Order for guidance, and we are told we're the chosen one and should go seek out a man in the order who can help us.
Into the stars and found a sign which he believed would alter the course of things to come. So strong was his belief in this sign that he gave his life to find it. You are this sign, and his special gift to you proof of his conviction. The star crystal bequeathed you by Seer Augustus is very rare and possesses the power of life itself. He might have used its power to save his own life, but his destiny was to sacrifice himself that this power should be yours, a testament to his great belief in you. The star crystal you bear will bring you continued life should you fall to the grey forces now conspiring against you. But be warned, each life lost shall take from you a part of your past, and by so doing rob you of some of its gains. The alignment of the stars is ever changing, though the stars remain upon
Whence finding the man we seek, we find he is being attacked by a death spectre. This fight acts as a little mini-boss, in which you have to collect the floating candles and place them on the altars. However, if you pick them up at the wrong time, you may collect a skull by mistake. That is also circulating the death spectre. Picking these up causes them to explode, causing damage to you. With the candles placed, the spectre goes down reasonably easily, and we can speak to the seer. He tells us to go to the catacombs underneath Fargrove and retrieve the Relic of Power. While there, we encounter the Stone Guardian, who is Jamaican for some reason.
What is the magic word I need to hear? I can't open the chamber of the tomb if you don't know.
However, before the Guardian will let us take the horn, we need to defeat a hellhound, the depths of the crypt, to prove our worth. when defeated, the beast dies, revealing the magic word that will prove your worth to the Stone Guardian. During that fight, I was overcome by smoke several times. It's just one of the status effects in the game. It can be exploited out of using the pause bug, and while you are coughing you are unable to consume any health potions, cast any spells, or strike with any weapons. It's one of the few games in memory where status effects are genuinely debilitating. The only other games that come to mind would be the Wizardry series, and a couple of the Final Fantasy games. Only a couple. Most games now don't give a shit. I'm surprised they bother including them. Most of them just use poison as a debuff and that's it now. Or bloody World of Warcraft where you can cause skeletons to bleed. Why do they even bother including them if it's so ridiculous? Anyway, what I'm getting at is it's just rare to see games that use status effects as a mechanic rather than just a dot. Speaking the magic word to the stone head grants us access to the horn, and we're one step closer to finishing the game. We return to the leader of the order. She's impressed by our abilities and sends us on our way to the next artifact. Before we head off though, let's talk character development. At the start of the game, you're given one of 4 choices, and they're just the bare bones of the class. However, as you advance through the game, you're given the option of cross-classing to many different things, some of which include a knight, a marauder, samurai, sorcerer, battle mage, ninja, paladin, monk, hunter, trickster. There's even gender-specific classes for the females, such as the Valkyrie or Enchantress. That's only about half of them. There's also master classes that follow that. It's really quite varied. It's a shame we don't get this sort of variety in modern gaming. During this playthrough I decided to be a knight / paladin. I also wanted to become a Valkyrie. Unfortunately the quest for it bugged out halfway through, so I wasn't able to complete it. When you're offered a class upgrade in the game, it also comes with a quest that usually sends you around the map. I've always quite liked having to complete a task to prove your worth, to change your class. Upon completing it and meeting the statistical requirements, you're granted new abilities to level up. It's always very satisfying to do this. Having retrieved the horn, Lord Davenmore grants us an audience and charges us with finding his daughter, Lady Elowyn. Elowyn's servant maid gives us a key bit of information, and we're off to Arendelle, home of the elves.
Stay out of trouble.
From here on out, we're more or less free to do what we want. The world is open to us. We can explore, kill, quest, whatever we want. To try and illustrate how large the game world is in this game, I'll just pop it up in the top left for now while I run to Arendelle, and we'll go over some of the beastery you can encounter in your travels. Bats. Giant wasps. Serpents. Wolf packs. Really disturbing human-looking mouths. Rat swarms that come with their own headphone warning. Slimes that are capable of causing the coughing status effect. Scorpions. Giant fuck-off spiders. Humans, both the stabby and casty types. Unremarkable thieves. The much more annoying knife-throwing assassins. Goblin hordes. Goblin sorcerers, capable of immolating the player. Elves and drow, both in the stabby and casty varieties. Witches, capable of summoning opponents and casting horrible ensnaring traps on the player. Flesh-eating zombie hordes. Shambling skeletons. Quite well animated shambling skeletons, I think. Terrifying mummies capable of causing a torpor slumber in the player. Moaning dungeon ghouls equipped with clubs of bone and gnashing teeth. Horrifying wraiths capable of freezing the player in place and absolutely destroying them. Hildering succubus, capable of flying and pelting you with spells from above. Lesser demonic creatures, able to breathe fire, immolating the player. Beholders. Gigantic phobia-inducing snakes. Naga. Spoonie's Bane, the Headless. Whatever the hell this thing's supposed to be. Maybe a werefrog. The stock standard rhino bear. These are just in every bloody game now. Pretty sure the next Call of Duty's gonna have a rhino bear mode, just like they have the zombie mode. Gigantic living statues, possibly from Greece. Barracuda. Piranha. Minotaur.
We have a winner.
Treants. Red dragons. Fun fact, when I got to Arendelle in patch 1.0, a red dragon spawned. Stupidly, I saved my game thinking I could take it, assuming it wouldn't have spawned if I couldn't. No prizes for guessing the outcome. Well, I'm still running to Arendelle at the moment, so let's go over some of the terrain. A stock standard grassy field. Forested areas. Desolate, crumbling ruins. Barren swamps. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Oh, never mind. Ah, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Lakes so large the draw distance can't handle it. Bramble mazes. Do you think He-Man is home? Nah, he's probably busy with Skeletor. The endless void. The South Australian desert. And swimming. Technically it counts, doesn't it? And yeah, even after all that, I'm still running to Arendelle. And it's only a 10-minute walk, or run, but bloody hell, it's a fair distance. This is one of the shorter trips in the game you'll be making several times before you get the option to use the teleporters. And I'm probably wrong in thinking this, but this is a pretty big world for 2005.
He was once a prominent member among the noble elven houses.
Arriving in Arendelle, we enter the inn and immediately get caught up in House Masune's issues. They have been disgraced by House Fathian and need to regain their honour, and it is up to you to prove House Fathian's deception.
My father took his own life to atone, but Lord Galibrian could not forgive our family this disgrace. I have long suspected the House of Fathian for this crime, for Fathian ranked only behind our house and that of House Galibrian, and the honor, titles, and power taken from us all too quickly fell upon them. Recently, I received a letter from Elvitra Malvolin, wife of Nivio, faithful steward of my father until the time of our dishonor. Her letter says only that I should come to see her as soon as possible, upon a matter of great concern to my family. I've heard that Nivio is dying, bedridden with illness, and he never lets Elvitra out of his sight. Whenever I approach the apothecary where she tends, regardless if by day or night, I can hear him barking orders at her. Please go and see Elvitra at the apothecary. Tell her that I, Narako Musume, have come to Arendelle. I will wait here for her to come and see me. Travel with the wind.
Heading to the throne room, we accuse House Fathian, but without any proof we need to prove ourselves first in the trials.
The lost Argalia of Erodorn, and yet you petition for audience with the wizard Emendor. Now, tell me,
You dare insult the House of Fathian thus? My lord, this...
What proof do you have of this accusation? Narako Misume is an outcast. Her voice is no longer heard before the Council of Elders. House of Phaethian, what say you to this accusation?
The trial of ancient elders, they must die.
The trial of ancient elders.
The first part of the trial involves avoiding endlessly respawning ghosts while toggling switches to open gates so you may proceed, while running on the top of narrow bridges as they try to push you off. The final part of the trial involves a fighting gauntlet. It goes on for about 5 minutes while ghosts spawn consistently, and you're being pelted by immolation spells from the mage above. It is genuinely challenging.
ancient elders have judged you.
Displeased by your capabilities, the emissary of House Phaethian demands that you go to the fortress of Ulm, where the Drow are, in order to negotiate. Still lacking proof, you have no option but to accept their invitation, even though the emissary talks like a cartoon villain.
By order to the fortress of Ulm, to further the fate of Narako Misume now rests within your hands. Find and deliver proof of your claims against House Phaethian. Go now to the fortress of Ulm, to the House of Phaethian, and present this letter before Elder Demas Phaethian. Go now.
Approach, scoundrel! Your subtle diplomacy won't work with me. I know why you are here. It will be a simple matter for me to explain to Lord Galibrian how you stumbled and fell upon your own sword. Guards! Kill them!
Betrayed, we have no option but to fight for our life, and to find out the truth while doing so. With both heads of the House of Phaethian defeated, we are free to explore and try to find the stolen items that they framed the House of Misune with. Travelling to a little crypt underneath the fortress of Ulm, we come across the stolen item, guarded by a Death Spectre and its infinitely spawning skeleton army.
Here!
While exploring underneath Ulm Fortress, I happened upon a kidnapped man, resident of House Masune.
You won't believe
Freeing
what happened
him
to me.
gives me all the evidence I need against
One
the
night,
House
I went to the
Phaethian.
castle just for fun. Next thing I know, guards were surrounding me, and I was brought here. At first, I thought they were trying to scare me, but after a few weeks, they told me the council had sentenced me to jail for being a thief. Myris Phaethian stole the Argalia of Erildorn from Lord Misume's house and brought it here. Elder Phaethian intends to accuse Lord Galibrian of stealing it, and then furnish the Argalia as proof of his crime. Lord Phaethian is planning to seize control of the Council of Elders. I overheard him boasting that the Argalia was safely concealed inside a secret chamber down in the tombs, and if anyone came to search the castle, they would never find it. I'm going home now. I hope Mother and Father aren't too...
Upon returning to the throne room, the emissary for the House of Phaethian attacks both the king and I. We easily strike him down, putting an end to the House of Phaethian and exonerating the House of Masune. Pleased with my deeds, the Elf King grants me the magic mirror which will allow me to speak to the wizard Emendor.
As well. The treachery of Phaethian House is beyond. I have heard the news, but is it true? Have you at last? The Argalia of Erildorn is found. The treachery of Phaethian House is beyond comprehension, and their shame shall never be forgotten. However, your accusation without proof against House Phaethian was both dangerous and careless, with dire consequences to many should you have been wrong. Remember this saga well, for next time things may not turn out so well. Further, I have ordered the name of House Misume to be returned to its former stature, once more an honorable family among the elven nation. I have heard the plight of Elvithra Malvolin, the crimes of her husband Niviel, and the safe return of her son Vetrian. Though this family was guilty of great wrong, I believe she has endured punishment enough for their misdeeds. And now, Might there be some special favor I can do for you? Emendor is not well, and has made it clear that he must not be disturbed. There are grave winds rapidly approaching these lands, and his time is running out. You have proven your trust, and so I will share with you the secret of the great tower where he resides. In this world, what one sees is only a mere reflection. To see the truth, one must look in a mirror.
So much to venture to Arendelle and gain audience with. I believe I heard you claim that you found Galdrin's horn. A very bold claim. Will you let me? So it is true. Very remarkable that you. Ah, yes. Here, upon the end, the Circle of Talendor. Only someone familiar with Galdrin's secrets would recognize this symbol. The horn presents a delicate dilemma. Only here, within these tower walls, am I protected from Volgar and his allies. Outside and unaided, my magic is no match for theirs. Until the day I discover the means to bring Volgar down, I must remain a prisoner within my own sanctuary. Upon your honor, I must beseech you to take Galdrin's horn to the ruins of Talendor, and therein find the Chamber of Spirits amongst the castle ruins. It is only there that the message Galdrin has placed within the horn can be revealed. Remember well the secret of the horn, then hasten your return to me here. Take the Ring of Talendor. Galdrin gave it to me long ago, and you will need its magic to enter the Chamber of Spirits.
Visiting the wizard Emendor results in a massive exposition dump, although necessary, rather lengthy. To sum it up, he tells us to go place Galdrin's horn in the ruins of Talendor for safekeeping, and then to return to him.
I will give this further thought, but there is little I can do here. Were I to invoke any spell to penetrate beyond these tower walls, Volgar and the Circle of Mages could tap into the magical stream and
To see me? Did you really?
However, as we are leaving, Volgar shows himself a big bad of game. Projecting himself via magic, he casts spells upon Emendor until we blow Galdrin's horn to defeat its magics. With Emendor safe for the time being, we head to the ruins of Talendor.
I am hurt. Volgar's bite has lashed me deep, though I will recover soon enough. But now he knows about you, and this leaves no time to waste. Galdrin's horn saved us for the moment, but Volgar will be better prepared.
Well done. The boon of the relic is yours. I have prepared this message in the event that...
Reaching the ruins of Talendor, I place the horn upon a pedestal, and Galdrin appears before me in a magically encoded message. He explains there are 4 more relics to acquire, the relics of power, as he calls them. For each relic I acquire, I am granted a boon in the form of statistical advantage, and by bringing them here, they will be safeguarded against Volgar.
The divine relics of power, and from this union was born the Circle of Mages. For many years I have safeguarded the relics of power, for it is their divine power that has for many ages protected our world from sinister forces that seek to transform all that is good into nightmare and destruction. But evil schemes without relent, and thus the Circle of Mages has always been afflicted by the parasites of darkness. And though nefarious motives are often transparent, from time to time action is required. Such a time has now arrived. I have learned that one such pretender within our ranks has tapped into a demonic force of power far beyond his own comprehension, and his malevolent dabblings have instigated events now rapidly escalating into a catastrophe for us all. Only one of the sign, one ennobled of the stars by birth, may invoke the true power of these divine relics, and thus I am secure that my words are now revealed to one of such heritage. To you, therefore, I must bequeath the following legacy and bind you to the following charge. Beware the wizard called Volgar, for he is of reckless ability, vile of spirit, and selfish of mind. He leads the pack of malefic vermin now infesting the circle of mages. Though his motives are plainly visible, his actions are nonetheless dangerous and must not be allowed to reach fruition. In his dark conjurations, Volgar chanced upon contact with a diabolic entity not of this world, and has agreed to deliver the relics of power in a pact to gain fiendish power. It is only a matter of time before Volgar is able to scry the secret location of the relics. You must retrieve the relics of power and bring them here before Volgar can find them. Inside this magical pentagram, as one born of the sign, each relic will imbue you with a boon of additional power. There are 5 relics of power, the one you have brought here, and 4 others still concealed. Only when the pentagram is complete with all 5 relics will their true power be fully bestowed upon you. Only then will you be transformed into one capable of defeating Volgar. Of the 4 remaining relics, all but one have I hidden within the heart of evil, for there will evil stay, drawn to their power like moths to the flame. And though evil may not invoke the power of the relics directly, evil may still be affected by them, and will not surrender them easily to you, for these are instruments that they both fear and worship. You will find one of the relics hidden deep within the ancient ruins beyond the battlefields of the dead. Another of the relics rests in the murky waters of a fallen dungeon, beneath a temple in the Sagathian moors. Yet another of the relics I have concealed within the fires of an evil sanctuary in the Vale of Ruin. The 5th relic you will find in the possession of a female youth, the sole heir of Davonmore of Fargrove. This is the relic you should obtain first, before any of the others, for its power is one of great protection. It can protect you as it has protected her, and will help you survive the dangers you must face in your quest to recover the remaining relics. Go now, and make haste to Fargrove, and take audience with the young girl of Davonmore. Whisper to her the words, "It is the day of days," and upon hearing this, she will relinquish the relic to you. Only these words will release the relic from her possession, and otherwise it cannot be taken. As you obtain each relic, return here and place it within the magic pentacle I have prepared. The additional power you gain from each relic will help you to brave those perils still to come. Remember, all 5 relics must be gathered within the magic pentagram before their full powers will be imparted to you. Go now to Fargrove and obtain the relic of power from the daughter of Davonmore, and then return with it here. And be wary, for wherever you find the relic...
A permanent reminder of Volgar's assault. I now know that it was the...
Returning to the wizard Emendor, we inform him that the relic is safe within the ruins, and he gives us leave to go to find the seer Staraxion. He tells us she can be found in the Forbidden Lands, south of Skuldoon, a place humans are not welcome.
And left a trail for us to follow. However, I fear his message is very disturbing. If Galdrin was no match for Volgar, I dare to think what perils lie before you. You, I say again, for it is you who must undertake Galdrin's quest. Only you can invoke the power of the relics. And though I would gladly embark upon this mission at your side, I do not know the nature of what evil may guard the remaining relics, but from Galdrin's message I can tell you something of where they are hidden. All, except for Elwyn, the daughter of Davenmore. I have been unable to conjure any spell that would reveal her location, which is very troubling. However, Galdrin left us a clue when he mentioned that the relic she carries is an artifact of great protection. I can only surmise that the power of this relic is strong enough to shield her from my magic. As for the other relics, Galdrin mentioned 3 locations, and all lie east of Fargrove, in the foreboding wilderness lands of the Demigoth. In the Last Age, a fierce battle took place upon a long, narrow plain, which stretched through a mountainous corridor winding off of Lake Dread. The corridor was lined with the last defenders of a ruthless warlord, who commanded his sorcerers, invoked spells of diabolical wards to bolster their ranks. After the unholy massacre, this treacherous corridor of plain came to be known as the battlefields of the dead. For it is said that whenever noble legions try to pass through this corridor, the last warriors of the evil warlord will rise again to defend him, though their master has been long departed. Far to the south and west of the Demigoth enclave of Skuldoon, in an area they call the Forbidden Lands, are the Sagathian Moors. Deep in the moors there once stood the primeval castle of an evil priest. Though the castle was destroyed during the holy wars of the Last Age, it has since been rebuilt and is now a Demigoth temple. This is the domain of the Naga, perhaps the strangest of all Demigoth tribes, and certainly the least human. For it is said they are depraved and without conscience, and enjoy feasting upon the flesh of men. The remaining relic will prove most difficult to reach, for the Vale of Ruin lies in a black canyon, isolated deep within the Mountains of Despair, and the only way to travel there is by means of magic. Its wilds are inhabited by the foulest of creatures, guardians of an unholy sanctuary lorded by the Druids. Beware, for the Druids are diabolic in nature, evil mystics who engage in profane rituals of demonic conjurations. From the reference in Galdrin's message, I sense a warning that you may have to endure a challenge of fire to acquire the relic. Galdrin certainly chose well by his intent to secure the relics of power in the most desolate and fiendish of places. This will be a journey fraught with unimaginable dangers, and I feel certain that finding the daughter of Davenmore and acquiring the relic of protection before you embark upon these other perils is of utmost necessity. I have told you all I am able, though I remain ever ready to assist you in whatever way that I can. However, there is another I believe may serve you further. She is called Stauroxia, and was at one time a Celestine, the most gifted seer within the Celestial Order. However, she abandoned the Celestial Order many years ago, and later confided to me that her discoveries were leading her far beyond their ordained realms. Since then, she has lived secluded in her tower, perched high atop a peak within the Forbidden Lands. By night, she gazes at the stars, and by day she charts their meaning. She will know the Forbidden Lands, and can tell you more about these domains of evil where Galdrin has hidden the relics of power. We presume she will be expecting you, of course, and be sure to tell her Emendor sends his warmest regards as well. Travel well, my friend.
Rothan, what news have you? The kingdom of Rothan lies across the northern steppes, far from here.
What are you saying? The Lady Elwyn is not here.
Whilst travelling to Fargrove, I happen across King Greymere, who is looking for his son Veldane. He believes his son has ran off with Lady Elwyn of Fargrove, and you nonchalantly agree to help him.
My son Valdane and have him imprisoned. By the gods, if any harm has befallen my son Valdane, I shall wash the streets of Fargrove with Davenmore's blood. The Lady Elwyn sent urgent dispatch, imploring me to come here at once. Her letter claims unthinkable news, that in a fit of rage her father has ordered the arrest of Valdane and sentenced him to prison. She swears to my son's innocence of any crime, and has vowed to join me in winning his release, whereupon we should all return to the safety of our kingdom in Ruthen, before the madness of her father and his war with Berogrim beget their downfall. But now, I place the fate of Fargrove and Lord Davonmore in your hands. If you can find my son Valdane and deliver him safely to me, I shall not march against the House of Davonmore. There is a young maiden, Mara, whom I have dispatched to Fargrove to gather what news she can. Travel to the inn at Fargrove, and tell the tavern girl you search.
So you too are seeking the son of Greymare for the father. There is a
Stopping
woman
by Fargrove Inn, the barmaid gives me a tasty bit of information regarding Valdane's whereabouts.
beyond the creeping stones. They say the creeping stones come alive at night to feast upon weary travellers in their sleep. To find the Harrow ruins, travel east along the Southgate Road.
Before heading to Skuldoon, I stopped by the castle to inform Lord Davonmore of my intentions to gather the relics of power. In my absence at Arendelle, a coup was staged and Captain Okata has taken over the castle. Left with no other choice, I put him in his place and free Lord Davonmore.
Captain Okata betrayed us all, a spy for Lord Berogrim. If not for your valor, the battle would have already been lost. I pray you come with promising news. Tell me, have you found my daughter? By the gods, is there no end to my torment? My daughter must be found. Whatever treasure is in my house, take it. It is yours. Go now. Travel to the ends of the earth if you must. But, Valdane, my house is full of enemies. Everywhere am I betrayed.
After you have delivered smacks of treachery, I can scarce...
Having reached Skuldoon, I enter into negotiations with Vartug. He informs me of Valdane's location, and in return wants me to settle old business. He is vague about what this means, but it can't be good.
Perhaps I do know something of the recent fate of young Valdane Greymare. If he were to miraculously escape his present situation, what assurances do you offer that I would not be subject to another generation of Greymare's unjustified persecutions? The promises of this letter? Pah! This letter assures me of nothing. No, I would require something more than this. Still, the potential is most lucrative, and a little risk might be overlooked to secure such an arrangement. Let us say that I do my part to direct you to Valdane Greymare. I have made my decision. I will tell you where to find young Greymare. But first, you will swear to me that you will secure the arrangement of terms with the Elder, as so stated in the daughter's letter. And should you fail, your lives will belong to me. Further, should any ill event befall the son before his father's arms embrace him once again, your lives will belong to me. Do you so vow? So done! The fate of young Valdane Greymare now rests upon your shoulders. Should any ill befall him, your lives are forfeit to me. Should you fail to secure my alliance with the Lord of the House of Greymare, your lives are forfeit to me. You will find young Greymare bound for the Temple of the Naga, deep in the Sagathian moors. My guards will let you through the gate to enter the forbidden lands leading there. But there is one other task you must perform. Take this vial. When you find the son of Greymare, tell him that if he ever wants to see the fair Elwyn Davonmore again, you are to deliver...
In order to save Valdane, I must enter the Naga Temple, a place full of horrid traps and tricks. There is a lot of unavoidable damage in this place, including this one gas pit. I know now I was meant to find and equip a gas mask. However, I did not have any identification skill. I had not explored the place fully by the time I found this room. So, making the leap to equipping something I don't understand in order to safely enter this gas pit seems like a bit of a leap in logic to me. While in the Naga temple, I came across a room with some treasure chests in it. When I opened them, they opened incorrectly. Instead of the lid pointing towards the wall, it pointed towards the middle of the room. And this got me thinking just how rushed the developers of this game must have been. They didn't even have time to properly orientate the treasure boxes. It's just so depressing. No wonder the game was released in the state it was. Anyways, with the key collected from the gas pit, we are granted access to the relic chamber. There is a small-scale jumping puzzle to get there, and a boss you must defeat. In this case, the Naga Queen. The Naga Queen is an absolutely horrible boss to fight. She slithers around on top of the water, making melee combat nearly impossible. The only viable option is to use a ranged attack, and it causes 2 to 5 or 6 damage at most at this level. And since I wasn't a spellcaster, those were all I had. I reckon I spent about 30 minutes tapping her to death, while avoiding spells she casts at me, including a terrible creeping fog that tracks your position, and if it touches you, causes you to cough and take massive amounts of damage, while also poisoning you horrendously. I spent about 1/3 of the time just avoiding that spell. When she finally carks it, the relic is yours for the taking, along with the key to exit the chamber. With the Naga Queen defeated, Valdane is freed. He is a bit long-winded, but I probably would be too after being trapped in a Naga cell for an undisclosed amount of time. He's a bit taken back when you ask for a vial of his blood, but he's sure you wouldn't ask if it wasn't necessary.
Ally to Lord Barogrim and send dispatch to Lord Davonmore with details of Barogrim's invasion plans. Everything went as designed, and once met with Barogrim's men, all seemed well with our scheme. But upon hearing the news that my beloved Elowyn had vanished, my men and I turned our blades against Barogrim's escorts, and we raced back to Fargrove to help search for her. That's when we were captured. I didn't suspect until it was too late that my replacement, Captain Okada, was a spy working for Lord Barogrim, and that he had seized control of the palace. Our ruse was foiled, and I then knew we were dead men. But instead, the greedy Okada sold us to demigod slavers, who brought us here to the Naga. I now suspect my life was spared to serve Lord Barogrim as leverage against my father, Lord Greymare. But my father will no doubt believe Lord Davonmore is to blame for my disappearance, and will soon rally his army in support for Lord Barogrim anyway. My blood? What manner of depravity is this? Though I would gladly give it all to save fair Elowyn. My heart begs to know more of this, to hear news of fair Elowyn. But I must haste to reach my father before all is lost. I will try to rejoin you as soon as I'm able. Please find my beloved. I would gladly give all that I have to know.
Seer of the stars, I watch the motions of the heavens.
On my way back from the Naga temple, I find Staroxia's tower. She tells me of many things, but most importantly, about a man called Grimlock. He holds the secrets to the moon gates, and the only way into the Druid's enclave is through a moon gate.
That nothing can be revealed thereafter. Atop the eastern range, beyond the battlefields of the dead, lies the gateway into the realm of shadow and dark, the Shadow Ruins. This is the domain of the Lord of Shadows, a nefarious entity composed of eternal darkness. To enter his world, you will need a crystal stone from the shadowy Netherlands, from whence he comes. Such a stone can be found upon the Isle of the Damned in the Sea of Woe, north of the Shadow Ruins. Upon the waters of the Sea of Woe, the Lord of Shadows has conjured a trap for any who would invade his temple, an obstacle too formidable to pass. However, there is another way, a small corridor that runs through the mountains west of the sea, well hidden by the sleeping guardians of the forest. Seek the ancient totem of the tree, worshipped by the primitives in the savage lands along the southern boulders. The totem will awaken the guardians of the forest, and the passage they protect will lead you to the Sea of Woe and the Isle of the Damned. Beneath the ancient reliquary of the Shadow Ruins, you will find what you seek, the Relic of Power. Beware, for the Lord of Shadows will know you are there, and will...
I can't remember a thing. Huh? What did you say? Why...
Leaving the Forbidden Lands, I head north to find Grimlock near the Druid's Enclave. By mentioning Staroxia's name, a spell she casts on him is lifted and his memory is returned. He gives me a bag of runes and tells me to find the Moonstone north and east of Arendelle. Without the Moonstone, the Moongate simply will not function, even with the ruins.
Oh, now I remember. Oh, what have I done? It wasn't my fault. It was Card. Card made me do it. Card is the fiendish patriarch of the Dradoth, a satanic order of druids. It was Card who compelled me to reveal Galdrin's secret. It was he who possessed me with his demonic spirits. Don't you see? I had no choice. Oh, what have I done? The Dradoth are an unholy order of druids, twisted pariahs who revel in sadistic rituals of depraved butchery and satanic worship. Their sanctuary lies in the Vale of Ruin. Oh, woe! Helpless I was, against the demons inhabiting me possessed by Card. Galdrin trusted me with his secret about the relics of power, fabled artifacts of great magical ability, and Card tricked me into revealing it to him. Him and Volgar. Oh, you don't want to go there. The Vale of Ruin is desolate and vile, the land of the Dradoth, and filled with the creatures of unholy dreams and hellish nightmares. Only someone who knows the secret of the ruins can reach this domain, for it is isolated deep within the mountains of despair. It is a terrible place. They, the Dradoth, they did things to me there. I cannot speak of it. Nay, I will not again reveal the secret that Galdrin entrusted to me. For woe, what misery seeps from my weaknesses. Volgar, what treachery he has inflicted upon us. If only I had been stronger, perhaps Volgar would not have lured Galdrin to his doom. But it wasn't my fault, I swear! To reach the Vale of Ruin, you will need to know the secret of the runes. Only these enchanted glyphs will open the Moon Bridge and deliver you to the Forsaken Valley in the Mountains of Despair. Oh, is this why Staroxia has returned my memory? Is this what she wanted you to know? Oh, what grievous day! Have my secrets not caused enough harm already?
After about 30 minutes of listening to the swimming animation sounds, I find the entrance to the Moonstone Island, north and east of Arendelle. The island is guarded by two moon beasts, a wolf-lion hybrid. With the Moonstone in my possession and the runes given to me by Grimlock, I am finally able to use the Moon Gates. Within the Druid's Enclave, Skull Keep resides, and within Skull Keep, another relic. There isn't anything particularly noteworthy within this dungeon. Just a few boss mobs with massive World of Warcraft style HP bars and annoying breath attacks. There is a jumping puzzle that requires moving platforms, which is a nice touch, even if the jumping animation makes me wet my pants with laughter each time it happens. There's also a squash trap. that I thought I was too cool for. Apparently not. Once my pride was properly swallowed, I found my way into the demon ruins, and a jumping puzzle similar to the Nagas. There's a fight with the Balrog from The Lord of the Rings.
Come feel the flames of the demon.
You spend most of the time in the fire.
They will burn in their fires for all eternity.
And with that, the third relic is ours. Next up, the Shadow Temple, or as it should have been called, the Jumping Puzzle Temple. Every single puzzle in this place requires jumping, well except I think one of them, but that's a whole other hell in itself. The puzzle I have issue with is the chess one. Every time you touch a rune, one of the statues with the corresponding colour moves forward one step. If at any point they step next to you while moving, the puzzle resets, you have to fight a statue and do it all over again. Well, that sounds fine, right? Except it's not actually possible. The way the runes are set out, and the fact there's only 4 paths, means there is no actual combination that works. That's assuming you played it like I did. 1 step, wait. 1 step, wait. You know, like chess. But what the game is expecting you to do is just run through the maze in a particular pattern. I probably spent about 20 minutes ripping my hair out over this, and it wanted me to basically cheat to beat it. Well, putting my ineptitude to the side for the moment, the point of this dungeon is to save this man from the tormenting spectres. Once done, he helps you progress to the final part of the dungeon.
Are momentarily defeated, but there is more to be done. The Lord of Shadows, Nozlum, has spawned shadow gates between our world and the domain of darkness, to unleash upon our world hideous fiends from the Shadow Realm. Though our ancient order of knights had vowed to stop him, we were vanquished. However, this evil demon may yet be destroyed. Within the charge of our order rests concealed an artifact that he fears, a sacred relic of great power. So long as I remain lost within the world of shadows, I cannot help you. But there is a way for you to find me. Go now and place the unearthly sword, Shadow Slayer, into the hands of my stone image. Only then will I be able to see the dark path you must follow.
The boss in the Shadow Temple is an absolute beast. His rapid fire spells aren't bad enough, then the constant summoning of status effect minions is. The only way to defeat him is to pick up the relic he drops at a certain point in the fight and use it against him. Otherwise, every time he teleports away from you, he heals fully. It's a good thing I had hundreds of health potions, otherwise I would have been royally fucked. And with that, the fourth relic is ours. One to go. Before heading back to Skuldoon, there is one more stop we must make. While in the Druid lands, I swapped Valdane's blood for a password with a succubus creature. The password grants access to the Tomb of Souls, and the Tomb of Souls is where we can settle Vartug's bargain. The tomb itself is pretty boring. You just play peekaboo of the monsters, so I'll just skip to the end. It seems Vartug made a deal with a demon at some point in his life. Since you're neck deep, you have no option but to resolve it. And there are two options: answer his riddle regarding the tortures of hell, or beat him until he doesn't get back up. And holy crap did I pick the wrong option. This is one of the hardest fights in the game. It's an absolute clusterfuck. The demon summons minions constantly. There's constant spells flying around the arena and constant random enemies spawning because the game's just so well programmed like that. Eventually he goes down along with his minions, and we claim his eye as a trophy to prove we've defeated him to Vartug.
Is it true? Do you have it? Yes!
With proof we have settled Vartug's bargain, he tells us the location of Elowyn, daughter of Davonmore, and the means in which to get to her.
Every prize taken has been stained with the knowledge that one day Veratus would come to claim the rest of me. This was my curse, the price of my bargain in prosperity. How well I know the difficulty you must have faced. For though others have tried, all have failed. But while you are as fortunate as you are gifted, and have earned a right of reprieve, one day I will call upon you to fulfill your pledge, and deliver to me the letter of alliance with Elder Greymare. For the moment, I have other pressing concerns. Baragrim is a fool, and is making a terrible mess of things. His war is ruining my operations, costing me a fortune, and if left unchecked, it won't be long before he comes after me. The situation is simply out of hand. But fool though he may be, his army is still a dangerous beast while he lives to command it. Getting to him, that's the trick. For the witch hag who nursed him, yet suckles him still with her dark magic. Defeat the hag, and Baragrim will soon fall. On the very day the slavers arrived in Skuldoon with young Greymare, another convoy was passing through as well. bound for the Forbidden Lands and escorted by a legion of Baragrim's troops. Though the cage on their wagon was well cloaked and chained, there was no doubt in my mind of the prize it contained, the daughter of Davonmore. My agents followed the convoy deep into the Black Swamps, where they arrived at a clearing surrounded by giant stones. But these are no ordinary stones. These stones are the guardians to the gate of the Witch Hag's lair. My men drew near to overhear the secret whispered to past the towering giants, when suddenly the Witch Hag appeared, and one by one turned them each into stone. Of course, I would not be able to tell you this had not one of them escaped. At last I know the secret leading to the weak spot in Baragrim's armor, Irinthable! And this is where you must go. Beware! They say the Witch Hag keeps 200 years of tricks under her cloak. If fortune is with us, however, Baragrim himself will be there. Let us hope he hasn't yet spoiled the Davonmore girl. Now I bid you farewell, and look forward to our next encounter when it is once more safe for me to return to these lands. Prepare well!
Approach, fleshling.
In order to reach Elwyn, we must pass the Stone Guardians and go through the Black Swamp to the Bramble Maze, where the witch who has taken Elwyn captive awaits. In order to conquer the Bramble Maze, you must collect 3 gems and place them within a socket to open the true path. And this would be a lot more challenging if there wasn't an omnipresent minimap in the bottom left of the screen at all times. The witch awaits in the central complex of the maze, and in order to defeat her, you must destroy her 4 scrying orbs, guarded by 4 beholders. The witch herself isn't all that challenging, it's just like any other caster fight. The only annoying part is the stun debuff she casts. It takes about a minute to clear, or at least it feels about that long.
Help me! I'm Elwyn, daughter of Lord Davonmore.
Having rescued Elwyn, she gives you the final relic, a ring.
An urgent message to Fargrove with all due haste. I can only pray that it is not too late for me to make amends for the ruin I have caused. It all started when, unbeknownst to my father, I slipped out of Fargrove to meet with Lord Greymare, the father of my true love, Valdane. To save our kingdom from war, my father had promised my hand in marriage to Lord Barrowgrim. But how could he expect me to wed such a monster? When I confessed my love for Valdane, my father broke into a rage, and then ordered Valdane arrested and imprisoned. Valdane, the captain of my father's own royal guard. That's when I knew I had to escape Fargrove. I thought that with the help of Lord Greymare's men, we could rescue Valdane and flee to Rogan. But as I hid in wait for the arrival of my escort to Lord Greymare's camp, an evil wizard appeared. Oddly, his magic failed to have any effect upon me, and this seemed to infuriate him to no end. But soon after, a legion of Barrowgrim's men arrived. It was they who found me, and journeyed here to deliver me into the lair of the Witch Hag. Not long after we arrived, Lord Barrowgrim himself appeared, drooling and spewing upon me like a mad dog. I'll never forget his croaking laughter as he elaborated upon the trap that Valdane and my father had set for him. How they had feigned Valdane's arrest to convince him that Valdane and Lord Greymare were soon to rally against Fargrove, and under pretense of alliance infiltrate Lord Barrowgrim's camp. And woe, how Valdane jumped to reveal the face of this ploy against Barrowgrim upon hearing of my disappearance. My father's plan all along was to foil Barrowgrim, and everything was ruined because of me. Oh, my poor father. I I thought his rage that night was because he wanted me to marry Lord Barrowgrim. He was cursing at the cruel twist of fate that was about to deliver his future son into the jaws of his enemy, and he could dare say nothing to me. Throughout the night, Barrowgrim continued his rapid advances, though I denied him, and nothing the witch hag could conjure had effect upon me. But when the witch hag summoned the image of Baldane in that loathsome prison of the Naga, and the future that would soon befall him, my heart could resist no more. Though his odor is as the rot of flesh, and his touch laced with slime, to win a promise that he spare the life of my beloved Baldane, I had no choice but to relent. While your victory over the witch hag has released me this moment, still am I prisoner, for upon my word I am now betrothed to Lord Barrowgrim. I know that my beloved is safe with his father, and Barrowgrim dare not spill a drop of his blood. However, you must deliver word to Fargrove to warn my father. Lord Barrowgrim and Volgar are assembling their forces to raise the kingdom. If my father doesn't escape, they will slay him. Why, what did you say?
Lady Elowen, I have found you at last.
Ring.
You are no longer hidden from my spells.
I gave you my ring. Goldrin gave it to me. He said to keep it upon me always. I don't know why I took it off and gave it to you. I feel funny. What is happening to me?
Emendor magically projects himself and tells you that Barrowgrim's army is about to move on Fargrove. Without a second to waste, he teleports you to the Moon Gate at Talendor, where the army amasses.
Begin a final assault upon the kingdom. Do not let him stop you from reaching the Chamber of Spirits. You must invoke the final relic.
Bloody hell, really dumped you in the middle of it. Even though the majority of the opponents here are considerably weaker than you by this point, the numbers are still overwhelming. Having whittled Barrowgrim's army down, he is all that remains. As his health lowers, he calls for the witch to help him, but he doesn't realise she's already being disposed of. As he nears death, he asks Volgar for help, before realising he has been betrayed and used like a puppet for Volgar's purpose.
Volgar! Something is wrong! The Kriller's magic isn't working! Ha! Volgar will destroy you! Volgar will protect me! Volgar! Where are you? Volgar! Save me!
Well done. Yes, very well done indeed. Did you think I was unaware of your every move?
As the last relic is delivered,
I
Volgar
could have stopped you
appears,
at any time,
knowing that Geldron
but
can
I
do
needed
nothing
you
as
to
he is
gather
simply
the
an
relics of
encoded
power
magical
for
message.
me.
He whisks the relics
You played
away
right
to the
into
demon
my
realm.
hands. Of course, you realize I can't allow you to invoke the final relic. That would be most unfortunate for me. However, I will make sure you never get the chance. Now that I have the relics of power, I shall reign supreme. Ha ha! I go to claim my reward.
Follow Volgar. The portal is open into the realm of the fiend. Now is the time. You must not let Volgar deliver the relics of power, for if they are destroyed, then all shall be lost.
I have done as we bargained. I have obtained the relics of power. But now that I have the relics, you will bow before me! Give to me what you promised, to drink from the cup of immortality. Or I will
Following
use the relics
Volgar
of power
through
to
his own
destroy
portal,
you.
you chase him through the demon realm, confronting him and a very large demonic entity.
Then
Believing
I
that the
will
relics would
destroy
give
you.
Volgar power, he tries to betray the demon, which he made a pact with.
Why aren't the
The
relics
demon
working?
knew he would do this and was ready, and strikes him down before he could act. Thinking fast, I sweep up the relics before the demon can, and use their power to strike him down.
Destroy the relics as I have destroyed you. And your mortal world shall perish in flames.
The fight itself is more drawn out than difficult. This may have been because I was too dumb to use Goldrun's horn to free him from the crystal stasis, but eventually it dies like anything else.
Well done. Yes, it is I, Goldrin. I'm sorry I've had to mislead you.
Upon rescuing Goldrun, he explains that he was manipulating things from behind the scenes the entire time. He caught wind of Volgar's betrayal long before it happened, and intentionally trapped himself in the crystal so no harm could come to him once he had set up all the events to transpire. His faith was well placed in you.
It was the Soul Devourer who chanced upon our world by using Volgar's ill-prepared attempts at demonic conjurations as a guiding light. Whenever a sinister force enters the magic stream, my nose gets a tingle, and on that night it was very agitated. It didn't take me long to trace Volgar's mischief and eavesdrop on their communications. Once it became clear the Soul Devourer knew how to create a magic gateway to our world, I realized it would only be a matter of time before it could locate and destroy the relics one by one. Only fear of the relics was keeping the Demon Lord and his hordes of minions at bay, for without them, the demonic armies would be unstoppable. There was no choice. The Demon Lord had to be destroyed, and the secret of the portal along with him. My problem was how to accomplish this, for as long as I remained a threat to wield the relics of power, I knew the Soul Devourer would never reveal the secret of the gateway, lest I enter its realm and destroy him. So I fashioned a plan to trick the Soul Devourer into revealing the secret of the portal between our two worlds. I would be the bait, and make it appear that Volgar's meager spells were powerful enough to magically imprison me. I planted the seeds in the ears of the parasites within the circle of mages, seeds that soon weeded their way to Volgar, a plot for he and the demon to entrap me. My plan worked, and the Devourer wasted no time in invoking the portal,
once it perceived I was truly helpless, to take me into its realm and consume me. Of course, my prison was actually my sanctuary, for it was I, and not Volgar, who invoked the impenetrable crystal barrier that only the power of a relic could breach. The demon could not break through my crystal haven to devour me. But while I was safe for a time, I was also now powerless. I had to count on Volgar's scheming nature to win the day. It was elementary to trust in Volgar's evil ways, to betray his bargain with the Soul Devourer, to capture the spell invocation for the gateway once materialized, and then scheme to use the relics of power to command the demons. For you see, while I had let slip to Volgar the secret that only one of the sign could retrieve the relics, what he did not know was that only one of the sign could invoke their extraordinary powers, much to his shocking realization the moment before the Devourer made meal of him. All my plan needed was someone else who could wield the relics of power against the fiend, and of course, rescue me. I knew that once imprisoned in the realm of the Demon Lord, I would be unable to contact you until Volgar invoked the portal once more. So I enchanted the relic of the horn with my messages to guide you. It was I who sent word to the Celestial Order to seek out those born of the sign and set you on the path of this ordeal. Unless the Celestial Order foresee my elaborate hoax, which news would certainly have reached Volgar's ears, I subtly manipulated their charts in advance, so that my demise appeared real after the fact, even though it was not so. No one could know of my plan, not even my dear friend Emendor, for had Volgar gotten wind of the trap, he would have stopped you from gathering the relics of power. Volgar had to believe that only you, as one of the sign, could gather the relics for him, and therefore wait until you had retrieved them all before snatching them. As I had hoped, by the time you were able to find all the relics of power, Volgar had unlocked the secret to recreate the portal into the realm of the demon. Now we must return to our own world and close the magic portal to this hellish realm forevermore.
Oh no.
Goldrin then teleports you back to Fargrove, to Davin Moore's throne room, in the wrong orientation. Sorry devs, I really am. You tried your best. You're then given a short congratulationary speech before a cliffhanger is dropped on you by Goldrin, whose nose itches only when evil is afoot. However, a sequel would never come. And yeah, I can see why. The game was released in an unplayable state, or thereabouts. Even after 4 major patches, the game still stutters constantly, and does a long pause every time it has to load a random encounter, or something it hasn't loaded in a fair while. However, performance issues aside, I can still get enjoyment out of this game. I find the leveling up system quite interesting. Even the sloppy combat is charming in its own way, and the world it sets up I find to be at least intriguing at worst. Ultimately, I found the game satisfying in the end, even though it took me 13 years to finally finish it, and I'd gladly play it over the swill RPGs we're given today, and did for about 60 hours this month.
My nose is twitching.
I hope you enjoyed it, even if it was no more than background noise while you focus on something else. I'm a Jaded Gamer. Thank you for watching.